Do you guys have something to write with? Oh, that's not what I want to write with. Like, where's my blue pen? Who stole my blue pen? Okay, that's super important. Side A, so when I'm looking at this list of rules, when I talk about A has to be greater than B, I'm talking about the set, whatever letter that is, that set is always A. So if you have a matching set and it's labeled P, like side P and angle P, then that letter A changes to a P. A is always representative of the set you know, that set that you know all the information about. That is super duper important because as soon as I change the letters on triangles, people have a mental breakdown. And that's not good. Okay, so here we are. If we go here, so what we know is we have angle A is 61. We have side A is 85. And we have side B is 83. So if I've just given you this information and I say solve this triangle, do you guys know what I mean by solve the triangle? We solve for everything. So all missing angles, all missing sides. So when I make that statement, solve for the triangle, I'm looking for everything. But, yeah?
C or B is 93.
Is it 93? Thanks. It was hard to read. I need glasses. Okay, so we know all that information. Before we can decide what kind of triangle it is, we have to do the gray box test. We have to test for what option you have. That's what we have to do first. So we're going to go. Is A greater than B?
No.
We're going to answer this question. Is A greater than B? No. So A is not greater than B. So we know that A is not greater than B. So if that's the case, we have to go here. So A is less than B. Everybody agree with that? A is less than B. So we have to work off these three possibilities. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these inequality statements. We are going to say A, so that's 85, fluffy cloud, B, which is 93, times by sine of A, which is 61 degrees.
What? The sign of 61.
So notice that this is the same format. A less than B times sine of A is equal to sine B times sine of A, and A is greater than B times sine of A. So all I'm using is my big fluffy cloud here to decide, is it equal to, less than, or greater than? So that's why I'm using the big fluffy cloud. I like the big fluffy cloud. So I'm going to take 93 and I'm going to times it by sine of 61. And this is only going to work if your calculator is in degree mode, which hopefully it is. So what do we got going on there? Because I use 96. Let me try that again. 96 times sine of 61.
93 times sine.
No, I got 93 times sine of 61.
You said 96.
Okay, that's not correct. That is 81.34. Is that what you guys got?
Yeah.
It's a good thing you guys are here to check my math. So what statement am I making in the big fluffy cloud? 85 is greater than. So what we know is if we look at the rules, when A is greater than B times sine A, I know I'm going to have two triangles in the solution. Okay? Now we have a whole other problem. Not a problem, but now we have to do the math to find those two angles. But when I just give you the information and I don't give you a pretty picture, you have to do the test to see how many angles, triangles you're dealing with here. Okie dokie? So step one, do the test. And when I talk about the test, I'm talking about the stuff in the gray box here. Okay, let's dive into it. My favorite questions are the ones that have no solution. It's easy peasy. Okay, solve for the missing information in triangle ABC. If angle A is 30, side A is 4, and B is 3. So what's my first step? Don't draw anything. You have to do the test. And when I talk about the test, I'm talking about the thing on your formula sheet. We're making decisions. Is A greater than B?
Yes.
So A is greater than B. One triangle. That's so easy, ladies and gentlemen. That's so easy. That is Wednesday's lesson. Can you guys do this now? Can you use sign law? Do you need to draw a picture? Okay. We should probably draw a picture. And I'm going to show you the proper way to draw it. Look at that. Three-sided figure. It's a triangle. No curved lines. I know, pretty amazing. So what's your matching set? What letter is your matching set? You have the angle and you have the side. A. So if you have your matching set, it always goes on the left, the bottom left. So we know that's 30. We know this side is 4. Now your side B. Now normally we'd go around, like we read left to right, so we'd go up top there. No, no. Your B is going to be on the bottom. So B, angle B goes here, so where's side B? Is that the left or the right? The left. And the reason why we're always going to label our triangle this way is because when we have to do two triangles, it has to be set up this way. But this one only has one triangle, so I'm just going to go ahead and solve it. Now that you have the pretty picture, can you use sign law to solve it? Kinda? Okay, so sign law, I always start with my set first.
Wait, but there's no hypotenuse, how do we know?
There is no hypotenuse ever, because we don't know if there's a right angle in here. We're not using Pythagorean theorem, we're using sign law.
So how do we know? Oh, yeah.
Right? So now we've walked away from grade 10 trig, because we don't know if there's a 90 degree in there. Sine, we know 3. And we're going to solve for sine of B. Okay. They're noisy out there. Right, so I just did that multiplication. Got the sine now from the basement up to the top level so I can work with it. I want to get sine B by itself. So what am I going to multiply by? Going to multiply both sides by sine 30. And I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So really what I'm doing is I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. Because won't those cancel each other out? See if I can do it in my calculator right this time. And how do I find the angle B?
Sine negative.
So we're doing the second function button in our calculator. So if you forget how to do it, you don't have to write this line in, ladies and gentlemen. That's not going to make or break. Just remember that anytime you're solving for an angle, you have to do the second function button. Man, they're loud out there. Are they cleaning the streets, Nathan?
No,
What's all the noise from?
they're taking out a bunch of dirt.
Weird. That's never good. We have enough holes in this building. We don't need any more. So angle B is 22 degrees. We're going to round to the nearest whole degree. Okay, that's good. What now that I know angle B, what else do I know?
Angle C.
I do know angle C. How do I find angle C?
What is the subtract both?
So easy peasy. Angle C is 180 minus 30 minus 22. Does that make sense to everybody? Everybody good? Okay, now I gotta find the other side.
Is it more?
We can't do it. How come we can't do it?
Because there's only one.
Because do we have a 90 degree in here?
No.
No. So we can't use any right angle trig because we have no hypotenuse. We have nothing like that. We have to go back and use sine law. Okay, that was a big sigh. So I'm always going to use the matching set that was given. And now I want to find side C. Okay, they are really annoying. Does no one know we're doing math? Okay, so we've solved the triangle. So solving the triangle means solving for all the pieces that are missing. We usually keep 2. Usually we go to the whole decimal place. Or the whole number, sorry, not decimal place. Okay, easy peasy, right? That was Wednesday's lesson. Now we're gonna do another one. Okay, what's step 1 here? Do your test. So the question you're asking, what's my matching set? What are the letters in my matching set? A. So is A greater than B? No. So if A is less than B, we have 3 options, and that involves the fluffy cloud. Okay? The fluffy cloud part of it. So we're going to have 2 fluffy cloud, 3 times sine of 30. Oops.
Do we have to write the 3 options is?
Oh, that green is really dark. Sorry, I thought that would be helpful and it's not. You don't have to write the 3 options. I'm just trying to embed it in your brain that there are 3 options, and that means we have to use the fluffy cloud. Yeah, it's a 2 fluffy cloud, 3 sine 30. The reason why I highlighted those 2 parts on there, those are my A information. They're kind of like the earmuffs. They're on either end of the fluffy cloud situation. Okay, so what do we put in there? 2 fluffy cloud, 1.5. 2 is greater than. So what does that mean? 2 triangles. You knew it was going to happen. You will have one of these on your test. Now, some people will say, oh, on a test or a quiz, you'll be like, oh, that's a 5-mark question. It's a 2-triangle solution, and they're just going to dive into it. Please know that doing the test is one of those marks. Okay? Which, guys, honestly, if you forget the test and you're like, okay, 5 marks, I got to do 2 triangles, do the 2 triangles. Like, just don't not do it because you don't know how to do the test. Like, at least you'll get 4 out of 5 marks. You know what I mean, jelly beans? Okay. So how we're going to label our triangle. Our matching set is always on the left. Our matching set is always on the left. So A, so this will be 30 degrees, and this will be 2, and B is always on the bottom right. So this is where my 3 will go. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, your A arm is the arm that will swing in for the second triangle. It will swing in for the second triangle. You guys ready for this? Should we solve this triangle first? No? Well, let's solve this one first. So what information do we need? Angle. Oh, and what else is there? C. And I know that letter is C from that the triangle was labeled ABC. So we need angle B, C, and side C. You guys can do this. Go. So what one do I have to solve for first?
B.
I have to solve for angle B first. I did a lot of algebra just in my head.
When we're finding C, do we have to use the whole big decimal? Or can we just use 49? Like,
Oh, you're way ahead of me. Let me catch up to you. Let's just use 49. Okay, I'm going to label this B1 because this is my first triangle. Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to have math everywhere on your page. So I need you to do me a favor and like box in your answers, label them, keep them as neat as possible because it gets a little much. So C1 is going to be 180 minus 30 minus 49. So 101. Again, that's one of my answers. And then the last piece of information I have to find is
C.
side C. So we go back and we do the sign law again. So I always start off with the set that was given. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you know nothing else, if you are not confident with this, you would get, let's count the marks, you would get 1, 2, 3 and a half out of 5. So I'm so proud of you, right? So already you can solve the 5-point question. You can get 3 out of half, no problem at all. Okay? Now we're going to do our second triangle. What arm swings in? The 3 or the 2? The 2. It's always the matching set. Always, always, always the matching set. So this 2 is going to swing into here. So that also has a measurement of 2. I know it's not drawn to scale, but just trust me. So all we've done is taken this 2 and we've swung this arm into here. Okay, now I have ink on my highlighter. How do you guys feel about that? Pretty good. Okay. There is a hidden triangle here. There is a hidden triangle. Colored pencil that will be not super dark and not super offensive. This triangle here is a helper triangle. It's not the solution. This is my second triangle over here. But this blue one is my helper. Okay? That's my helper triangle. If it has 2 sides the same, what do we call that? What kind of triangle is it? Sorry, Joshua? It's an isosceles triangle. Tell me what you know about isosceles triangle. I told you one thing. 2 sides are the same, therefore? No. If 2 sides are the same, that means 2 angles are the same. Okay. You guys found that angle B was 49 degrees. You guys found that right there. You did that math. Well, I did the math, you did the math. I'm not sure who did the math. So what we know, so now this B has moved in here. So this is B2, right? Like that side slide in like that. So angle B is not out there anymore. Angle B is in here. But that blue triangle is an isosceles. So we know that this angle in here is also 49 degrees. What is the angle measure on a straight line? 180. So what is angle B2? Because that's where angle B2 is inside that white triangle, because that's the triangle we're trying to find. You can do this in your head, folks. 131. How'd you do that? Beautiful. So, in your second triangle, and your second triangle is your white triangle here. It's this one here. Your blue is just your helper. In your second triangle, we know that angle B2, so the new angle B, this one in here, this one right here, is 180 minus your B1. Okay, so now what can you find really easily? Angle C. So angle C2 is just that little top part. So angle C2 is going to be 180 minus 131 minus 30. What you get? Hopefully you got 19. Isn't that exciting? So nothing really hard here, but lots to remember. Like this math isn't mathematically hard to do, but there's so much to remember doing this one. So then we have to find side C. Now you guys would agree, ooh, that's C2. You guys would agree that that C2 is going to be smaller than the C1. Everybody agree with that? Right? Because C1 was the whole length. C2 is just this little part here. So you would anticipate that if you get a really big number or you get the same number, you haven't done the math quite right. So I'm going to start with the information given. So 2 over sine 30 equals C over sine, and I have the angle now, it's 19. That's okay. I think with these ones, you just have way too many decimal places to write everything on the page. So normally we would take all the decimal places and we'll be off by a rounding error. So if you were my engineer building the new building up there and you need to do trusses for the roof, I want you to use all the decimal places. You know what I mean? So that the roof actually meets together and it doesn't have a gap that lets in the snow and the rain. But I think for what we're learning here, I think we're okay just to use the rounded answers. Okay, terrible? Kinda? Not really? Do we have time? Oh, we got lots of time. This is it. This is the last example. Okay, do you guys want to try this one on your own or do you want to walk through it again? We'll walk through it again. Yep. Okay, did you guys ever make the connection that the biggest angle will have the matching, like the side across from it will be the longest side in the triangle?
Yeah.
Did you guys make, like, so we know that in triangle 1, C has an angle measurement of 101, so side C should be the longest side. Did you guys make that connection? And so in triangle 2, which side would be the longest side?
B.
B, because the angle for B is 131, right? So it's going to have the longest side, and it is. One side is 2, one side is 3, and one side is 1.3. So smallest angle will have the smallest side that matches, that sort of thing. Just another way for you to check your work. And that's, you're not going to get tested or anything on that. That's just kind of like, does that make sense? Okay, step 1. What's step 1?
Test.
Do the test. Feel like I'm going to use orange for this. Is A greater than B? No. So A is less than B, so 3 options. Okay? So as soon as I know that I have 3 options, I have to use the fluffy cloud. So I'm going to have 3 fluffy cloud, 4 times sine of 30, 3 fluffy cloud, so what is that? Make that statement for me. 2 triangles, because 3 is greater than 2, and so when I look on here, A is greater than B times sine A. I've got 2 solutions or 2 triangles. And I write everything down. Like, there's a lot of information, so I try to write everything down to keep myself organized. And remember, that's going to be worth a mark on these type of questions. It's something I do. Big fluffy cloud. I find everybody remembers big fluffy clouds, right? No, except for Vishwa.
What's the actual thing?
I don't know. You just put it, like, remember in elementary we used to put a box and you had to figure out if you added or subtracted? I've graduated to a big fluffy cloud. Grade 11 pre-cal, big fluffy cloud. Okay, can you guys draw your triangle?
Yes.
Do it and label it. Do it and label it, Vishwa. Make it big enough so that when you swing, hey, stop yelling at each other. Make it big enough so you can swing that second arm in. If you make a really small picture, and Rory's not here, but I'm going to mention her on the video. She's a tiny, tiny writer. You want to make your triangle big enough that you can actually swing that arm in and write any numbers you need to on it. So shout out to Rory, making big pictures. Okay, label your triangle appropriately.
Do that.
Did you get it labeled correctly?
I put the C in first.
Oh, Oh, good. Yeah. Thanks. Forgot that. Thank you, Vishal. Crazy. Okay, so step 1, I would solve this triangle. This is your lesson from Wednesday. It's easy peasy. Go ahead and solve for the missing information. The first thing we're going to have to solve for first is that angle B. And I'm skipping a bunch of steps, showing like each step in my algebra. If you guys don't feel comfortable with that, make sure you leave yourself enough room to show all your algebra steps. If you want to do it piece by piece, there's no shame in that game. Just make sure your math is done correctly. And if that means showing more work, it won't take you very long to do that. Okay, now I'm going to find angle C. Angle C. I'm assuming you guys are checking my math. 108?
Degrees, the small circle.
Okay, that's a good point, Vishwa. I haven't pointed that out yet. Your angles have to have degree measurements on them. And then last step for solving this triangle is solving for side C. Whoa, seemed very upset about that one. Okay, are we all good with that one?
No, yeah. I thought it was 4.
Okay, so we are going to swing the arm. Swing the arm now. So we're going to take this A arm and we swing it in. So it's going to be, and that's still 3. So this arm, always your matching set arm is the one that moves. Get rid of the beeping noises and now we get cars. I'm going to color in my helper triangle just to remind me that it's a helper and it's not my solution. It's just a helper. It's just my helper. I know angle B1 is 42 degrees. So that means my B2 angle, which is in here, this is my B2 angle. I know an isosceles triangle, this is also 42. So if I want to find, change color pens. If I want to find angle B2, I'm going to take 180 and I'm just going to minus the single 42 from it because we're looking, we know that that whole measurement is 180. Okay, so angle C2 is this little one up here. Just it's little now because you moved it in. It was really big before. Now you moved it in and it's small. So angle C2 is 180 minus 30 minus 138. 12. And then the last step is just to find side C. So again, I always start with the set that was given in the question. Smallest angle, it's going to be the smallest side. So it shouldn't be, if it's greater than 3, we have a problem, Houston. Okay, and that's it. That's ambiguous cases. It involves some highlighters, some coloring. We have 3 minutes left. Thank you, Cashin, for filling in for me.